Hello everyone, I am Plankera, and today we're going to continue rigging Shalom from Path to Nowhere. Speaking of Path to Nowhere, there's a new event out and a new sinner. So I've already rolled for her and gotten her. I'm not super involved with the actual gameplay of Path to Nowhere so much anymore. I used to be a little bit more so, but after a while it kind of started to feel like it was more about DPS optimization. So I don't know, I didn't read too much in detail of what she actually does, I just like collecting them all. And so far I've had the means to do that, so I don't chase shackles or anything, I just try to get one copy, so this way I can level them all up at some point. Because I like that. But anyway, I was, start of the event. I haven't had time to play through the entire thing yet, but I've gotten through the first few scenes, and I'm starting to kind of understand her character design a little bit. It's very dreamy, which I think suits this particular character and event very well. With some of the dreamlike qualities in her shading, particularly around her hair and her eyes. Like, rather than a more traditional looking hair highlight, she has that big electric blue one. And I think it's really interesting. It's, I've seen people try to give a dreamy feel to something, but they really succeeded in making LL look really unnatural, but still very pretty and appealing. It's really cool. And with her eyes and the bright blue irises and then that kind of pale purple pupil. It's in real people, the pupil is, just a hole in the eye, basically. That's where you take in the light. So this way, you can actually see stuff. And so reversing the colors on that makes it look really unnatural. And the way it was done is really striking, I think. I'm not quite sure about her clothes, personally. I mean, I think they're interesting, but I think they're, I don't know, almost too much in some ways. Like, for a beach-themed character to have a scarf, I think is a little strange. But again, maybe it's still just playing into making her seem kind of unnatural and out of place. But yeah, I've enjoyed her character design very much. I think she's very, very pretty, very cool looking. And I'm looking forward to leveling her up at some point to see her P3 artwork. I don't normally look it up beforehand. With some I do because I try to draw them. But for the most part I do let it be a surprise. Let it be a reward for actually spending all those resources. I haven't gotten too far into the event yet. When I first started it, I was like, oh, we're doing Dreamy Bubbly again, huh? Because they do seem to like those themes a lot of, just not necessarily embracing reality, but in this case it seems less about delusion bad, reality good, and more about what people want. And I think that's kind of an interesting difference. I think this was probably the summer event in China, so it's much more upbeat and I don't know, like light and that kind of thing. Just a nice, simple kind of beach flavor, and it's been cute actually seeing the other sinners from the past in here and just seeing them kind of go after what they want. and get a better understanding of them. I always like it that Path to Nowhere does this with their previous characters, both high and low rarity. Kind of see a little bit more into their personality, and I do enjoy that quite a lot. So far, they seem to be setting up a theme of... how do I describe it? Being, I guess, underappreciated, and not necessarily being able to get everyone exactly what they want, and perhaps not even necessarily caring about your own wants and self-sacrifice in that way. That seems to be how they're setting up LL from what I've read so far, but like I said, I'm not very far in. Don't spoil anything for me. I'm just sharing my thoughts for the moment. The last scene I read was Luvia Ray's introduction in there, and the mirror. So I'll probably read some more of that today. Probably do some more drawing first after stream, because I have been having a very good time with that. Been doing some more stylization experiments. And that's been an absolute blast, so... right now I'm going in with a bunch of refinements on my minimalist style. And I am really enjoying the results. Which is why I can't wait to work on it, even though I am rendering hair. Because you can never escape the hair. It's always hair, man. I laugh because otherwise I would cry. But it's okay, it looks really cool, so I can deal with it. It's much easier to deal with when everything is just looking really cool and really stylish. But it's okay, I knew what I was getting into when I started drawing anime. People always act like the eyes are the focal point, and, you know, maybe they're right, maybe it is the focal point. But I swear, it's never the part that takes very long. Because eyes are just so comparatively small compared to, like, pretty much everything else. Clothes, hair especially. Just so much hair. So much hair. Alright, so with any luck, I'll be able to finally get these bangs done. Because, man, they have not been happy with me lately. I have been feeling a little out of it due to problems with insomnia, and I'm also starting to wonder if I just have a problem with one of my medications. Hello there, Senna. How are you today? Right now, I'm just venturing back into Bang territory. Hoping to get them finished off today, because they haven't been cooperating with me, and it's not very nice of them. But I'm pretty sure I can get it. Just gotta keep trying. Let's see here. What's still bothering me? What do I see here? I'm going to look very closely here. Still a little lump right up there. I'm gonna start at the top work my way down. Let's try to get rid of the little lump through here. And then I'll worry about everything lower. It did look like I had most everything else looking pretty good, though. Maybe a little bit right there, too. Right, and, here, so Senna, are you, so far my audience seems to have been split pretty evenly between people interested in Path to Nowhere and people interested in Inochi2D. Which of those brought you here? I am curious. Always curious to know how people find me and what makes them interested in what I'm doing. Alright. So let's see here. Still feel like there's a little bit off in that top part there. And I do think that getting all of these areas right will help me further down the line. I'm going to try to get that little strand in the perfect spot. And I also think having things squirm around a little bit less in the areas near the face will be beneficial. I always like to put a lot of extra effort into the face, because that's where people look the most. And so I think it's important to focus on the areas that people will see the most. Less concerned with a lot of, like, the ends of the tips and that kind of thing. But there we go. I think that's looking pretty good. Maybe just a little bit of compression right there. I'll just slide these vertices on down real quick. Well, yes, I figured that much. But regardless, it's good to have you here. So right now I'm just trying to rig the hair on the downward angle here. I've gotten the left and the right mostly done. I might touch them up eventually. Probably right before I start doing the corners, which currently still look very cursed. But that is the nature of rigging. Everything tends to look very cursed for a while. But for the time being, I'm just trying to get her front bangs done. And I've been having a little bit of a tough time figuring them out. They just don't really want to cooperate. That's alright. I'll still do my best for them. Okay, I think, yeah, the angle here is actually a little bit different from what I expected. I'm gonna go ahead and hide this for a second here. So I think that might be part of what was throwing me off. I think there might actually be a bump there. Ah. I see. Okay. Hopefully I will not regret this decision, but I think everything has to be a little bit further to the left. And that's why everything's been seeming just a little bit off. There we go. Nope, that's too much. Let's bring it back a bit. Nah, I don't even like that. Let's bring it back a little bit more. Yes, this is where it was before. I do think I have to move part of it a little bit further to the left, though. Just maybe not that much. Maybe from more like right here. Just try to be very, very gentle. It's always hard because my hand is not very steady. I'm always amazed that I can do, like, half of the stuff I'm able to do. Where it feels like my hand is jittering around. Alright, so now that I have everything moved over a little bit to the left, I'm gonna start putting the vertices back into place here. Yeah. So it looks like I need to push everything up very slightly. Things just kind of got pushed downward when I was moving everything to the left. I'll push it back up a little bit. There we go. Okay. And now I can just go back to adjusting everything here and hopefully getting everything into good spots. I have this bang isolated, so hopefully everything will be easy to see, and I'll just be able to finish this guy today, because I have been working on him for way too long. I'm honestly amazed that it's taken me as long as it has. Like, I don't really mind being slow, but I still just marvel at how much difficulty that I've been having with this one little area. It's alright, it happens sometimes. Hopefully once it's done, I'll be able to cruise along and won't have quite as much trouble. Couldn't tell you what was making this area so hard, though. I think that's just how art is sometimes. Where sometimes things feel randomly very difficult for no reason at all. Okay. At some point I may take a look at the mesh itself to help me get some of these vertices into place, because it does feel like I kind of knocked them around a bit by using the brush, as is common. The brush is kind of declaring full war on all vertices and knocking them all over the place, so they tend to be a little bit stunned and confused afterward. So sometimes I need a little bit of help getting to where they need to go afterwards. But yes, I do feel like the brush tool is often the nuclear option, where everything needs to move right now. And then I go back and worry about the details afterwards. And unfortunately now I'm at the part where I have to go and worry about all the details. Okay. I think I'm getting somewhere. I think some of this can be solved by straightening out some of the triangles. Some of them appear to have gotten a little bit crooked and all that. The way the triangles look can also be a decent hint as to where something should be. Because I know that when I made the mesh, I was very particular on trying to keep the triangles very straight. And in a nice, orderly pattern. As much as the human brain can manage such a thing, of course. That's why I say it's at least a hint. Something I can take a look at when I'm having a little bit of trouble. Alright. We're going all vertices must move mode. I think I need to pull this out a little bit. Push this in a little bit. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm getting somewhere. Moving everything just a little bit to the left, I think, helped. Man, if that was all that was bothering me and I just couldn't identify it for some reason, I'm going to laugh at myself. Because it's quite funny. Man, this highlight though. Never quite seem to get it in the right place. Alright, let's try again. I will keep trying until I get it right. Little highlight might as well surrender, because I'm definitely not going to give up. Just for whatever reason, whenever I move it around, it never seems to be at quite the right angle. I'm going to be very particular with it here. Gonna make sure it's nice and even and straight. And once I can get it like that, maybe that's a reasonable sign that it's in a better place. Maybe, I don't know, that's still a little bit wavy. Yeah. A little bit wavy, so there's still a spot right there. That's not quite right. Okay. Now the top part I think is a lot better, so now I just have to adjust the bottom part of that highlight. Try to get all this aligned again. I'm gonna zoom in and out because I think it's actually important for me to see how it looks zoomed out. So I think that's the part I care about right now. Okay, yeah, there we go. Now it's just, the area that's wrong is a little bit further down. That's good. I hadn't corrected the areas further down yet. So this means progress is finally being made. And I am no longer just flailing at that highlight that does not like me. Alright. So I guess to kind of explain some of the things that I'm looking at here. I'm gonna move the head very slowly here. Is basically when everything moves here, it should only look like the head is dropping here. So because her bangs are kind of draped out in front of her head here, I don't expect them to be turning very much. So I just kind of am trying to let them drop straight down. And I'm trying to minimize any shifting that kind of suggests that it might be moving in a different way. I kind of want it to move at roughly the same distance as the head. And I want to keep like the angles on these strands and everything. You can see this highlight here, this shadow down the middle. and all that roughly the same. Because it should just be dropping. Right? It's just dropping down. It's not twisting. I can probably afford to let it twist a little bit, but I'm trying to keep that to a minimum. Just trying to embrace a simple drop here. So that is how I am visualizing the movement in my head. And so all I do is I have this 2D parameter for the head turn here. And I'm going to go in, arm the parameter when I'm ready to move things around. And then adjust accordingly. Still seeing a little bit of shifting in some of these areas. So I'm trying to eliminate some of that. Like right through here still kind of feels like the vertices are getting a little bit closer together. So because they look like they're getting a bit closer together and they're kind of shifting in a weird way, I am trying to push them a little bit further apart. Okay. And I can see that, like, the shadow area here is changing in size and stuff. But right now I'm still just focused on this area. And I figure once I get this top area looking correct, then I will have an easier time with the lower area. Because then I can just adjust it relative to the areas that I already know are right. So once I know that an area is right, that means if an area next to it also looks right based on what I've already made, then I know that it's probably in a good spot. So it's just a little bit easier to start from the top and work my way down. So I'm not at all concerned with the tip, and right now the little bit that it's off by is not really enough to distract my eyes too much and make it so that I can't see what's going on with all the other areas. So I'm like, sometimes things just get so off, so wrong, that all I can see is them squirming out of the corner of my eye. And that is not the case here. Everything is reasonably okay here, so I can really go in and focus on getting these exact details right. I'm probably going to get less and less precise about it as I go further down, because as everything starts getting away from the face, it becomes less and less important. As you can see here, I'm trying to get it very, very close as I can, being very much a perfectionist about it. Alright, yeah, I think we're looking good. Oh yes, being very, very much a perfectionist about it just because of the proximity to the face there. But here we're starting to get a little bit further away, so it's becoming a little bit less important for it to be like 100% squirm-free. I still want it to be a little bit better than it currently is. And I mean, I still want it to look good, of course. But I don't think I'm going to be inclined to spend hours and hours just getting the exact angles here completely perfect. Just mostly perfect. Mostly perfect is fine. Alright, getting somewhere. Mostly worked my way down here. Still just also kind of thinking about the current Path to Nowhere event. So far it's been a pretty fun read. I'm not super invested in the mechanics. A lot of it is still just, it's a lot of what Path to Nowhere tends to like to do with its mini-games and stuff, which don't interest me too much. The descriptions on all the fish and food are cute, though. I go read all those. I enjoy the game's writing, so I tend to read even a lot of the side stuff. Using them as kind of a way to represent the other patrons on the island without having to go super deep into explaining them, I think is a cute idea. As I can tell, it's definitely supposed to be referencing them just based on what we've seen some of the portraitless NPCs say. And I can kind of appreciate handling it like that. Especially since Cabernet is involved. Okay. Still got a little bit of shifting here. I guess to explain what I mean by shifting is, like, look right around here. On the edge here. And when I push it down, this side is going to look like it's moving upward a little bit. So you can see that line kind of looks like it's moving up a little bit. And so that tells me that I need to move some of these vertices a little bit further down. And these ones need to go a little bit further in. Right now, this strand of hair is a bit too thick. So I just gotta push all these little guys a little bit further in. Something like that. Alright. Oh, let me click off the mesh there. I don't think I need to do a mesh view shenanigans right now where I keep the mesh on to give myself some idea of how it's moving. Is it really that close? Yeah, I guess it is. Okay. Fair enough. So it looks like a lot of these ones kind of got pushed downward. So I just need to push them on back up. And then gradually everything will start looking a little bit better here. Just gotta keep poking at it. Right now I'm more focused on the bottom than the top, even though the top is clearly worse. Like, you can see this little lump forms here. A lot of these are moving all over the place. But I think defining the bottom will make my life a little bit easier for some of this. And so that's why I'm focusing on the bottom area first. This time I have a reason beyond, I don't know, I feel like it. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I think I feel like it is a perfectly fine answer, personally. But in this case, there's a little bit more to it. Okay. Then... So right now I'm looking at this strand right here, and I think that's going to be kind of my way to get over to the bridge to the other side here. I think the bottom side is mostly looking okay. There's probably a few things I still want to tweak right around here. But I'm also very much looking at this shadow portion that kind of comes out. Because I think he's going to be a good landmark for me to start working on the left side of the strand as well. So once he's in place, then I know what the other side should look like relative to that one particular area, and that'll make it a little bit easier to work. It's like I always talk about what things look like relative to each other, and that's kind of what matters here. It's like when you're dealing with proportions, it's not so much exactly where things go, it's always where they go relative to each other. Because, I mean, if you're just drawing an eye, it doesn't matter where on the paper you put it. It can go anywhere. Because it's just the eye. It's not on a head or anything. So you can plop it down anywhere and it'll look fine. But the moment that you add the head to it, or a second eye, suddenly its location matters a little bit more. Because it has to exist in space in a way that makes sense with the other elements around it. And so that's what a lot of rigging is. Just making sense of all the elements in space. And putting them all in the right spot. Since I'm just going around and changing the perspective and the angle of her head in all these places. And thus everything else has to change relative to that in order to sell the illusion that her head is actually moving. That's why I'm trying to make sure that all these areas do not look like they're being compressed. But right now they still kind of feel that way to me. So I'm trying to stretch them out a little bit. Oh man, I hope that the other tips of the hair don't give me this much trouble, or I'm going to be working on this angle for an eternity. Alright, just some minor movement here to try to get the length of this shadowed area looking right. Alright, I think we're doing good. So now I'm starting to look down here. Before I was looking at this shadow and like the shape of the bang here, and now I'm starting to look at the highlight area next to it. Gotta be careful with how I move that vertex, though. That vertex is also connected to this shadow area. I don't want to move him around too much. I've spent quite a long time trying to get him into a good spot. And he finally seems happy, so I don't want to disturb him. I don't want to disturb him. Just let him rest. let him hang out there. Hopefully he likes that spot. Been disgruntled for so long that I'm glad that he finally seems happy with me. I will take it. Okay. That little strand coming off here is probably 90% correct now. Like, I think it's really close. I'm just trying to find the last little bit that doesn't quite seem to like where it is. And try to find the right spot for it. But almost all the squirming's gone. So that's good. That's very good. Alright, how is this? Still kind of feels like this area is dropping. That just means I need to move some of the vertices around here a little bit higher. Maybe something like that. Like, it's pretty straight through there, right? Yeah. So if I looked at the front there for a second, just to find the angle of the strand, and it is very, very straight. Super straight. Like, no curve to it at all. So I'm trying to replicate that here. And yeah, things are looking much straighter there. Yeah, there we go. I think that's pretty good. Alright, now that I have this dark area, that little strand, in a good spot, I can start looking for how things should be on the left side. Because now I have a good landmark in both the middle and the right side. And I'm not just kind of guessing. That is the importance of landmarks. They will help guide you to where you need to go. So let's see here. Alright, and at the very least, I do feel like that every change I make is getting things a little bit closer. I think I will finally be free of this bang today. Oh man, it has been an adventure. An adventure that I was not expecting, and I'm not quite sure why it happened, if I'm being honest. I really don't think this area should have been as hard as I was making out to be. I'm pretty sure I'm making this look way harder than it actually is. Just not sure what's wrong with this one. Not sure why it doesn't want to cooperate with me. It's very rude of it. But it's okay, I think I'm almost through it. Let me see. Now that I have this a little bit better, this area is starting to look a little bit more distorted again. So I'm going to take a look at it real quick. Okay, moving down. It has kind of an upward shift quality to it. That probably means I want these to be a little bit more like this. This guy a bit higher. Yeah, let's just straighten out the triangles. Like, I have to remember, when I meshed this, I made a very nice lattice pattern. They just were very, very nice isosceles triangles. And they were very pretty. And I made sure of it. I spent quite a long time adjusting all those triangles. Oh yeah. We're looking much better though. Okay, looks like I moved him up a little bit too much. That's okay, I can fix that. Sometimes I do things a little bit too much, and that's normal. Happens all the time. After all, I do have a personal philosophy that if something is worth doing, it is worth overdoing. And that perhaps does not serve me well when I'm rigging. Because you don't want to overdo it when you're rigging. You want it to be just right. Everything gotta be just right. Lots of precision that goes into it. Alright, and now we're starting to get pretty far from the face. So I don't care quite as much about making everything like super duper precise and perfect. I just kind of want to get it to the point where it doesn't look weird. Right now things still look a little bit weird. So that is my duty for the time being, of just making things not look weird. And that is all. So I'll go ahead and there's some of these little vertices in. Try to make the line a little bit neater here. Let's see, how would I have done this? Probably like that. Just looks like I missed a vertex there somewhere. Maybe I did. I don't really feel like going back and fixing it though, so I can work with what I have. It's fine. Okay. Getting somewhere. I really am. I feel like I'm actually quite close to figuring out everything down to the tip here. Just gotta get the angle on this part right. I'm actually gonna stare at it here real quick, because it looks like it kind of goes to the end of this highlight and then is very straight. Whereas me, I'm trying to make it very flowy and curvy. What I actually want is to make it very straight. So let's straighten this out. Just a lot of little straights here, and I always tend to be a little bit surprised by them. Tend to want to just make my hair as curly as possible, and I actually go and look at it a little bit more closely, and I'm just like, oh, it's actually straight. Oops. But that's okay. I can fix it. I can fix it and make it more straight. Alright, I think we're getting somewhere. So I think the tip is coming out a little bit too far. So I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to push things in a bit. I think somewhere around there seems pretty good. Let's take a look. Yeah, I think somewhere around there is pretty good. Now I just clean it up and make everything better and not like it's sliding around like you wouldn't believe. This is one of those one step at a time. Just can't do a ton of things at once. So I just gotta go in and do one little thing at a time. There, I got the length right. Now I just need to get it to stop compressing in some of these other areas. And I can do that. Just gotta slide these vertices up here a little bit more. They'll be happier up here. There is a place in the world for everyone. I am more than willing to help them find it. This way they don't keep squirming around and just looking horribly uncomfortable. Doesn't seem like it'd be any fun at all. Okay. Everything has been slid considerably upward. So let's see if that helped. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Just gotta go a little bit further. Oh, did not mean to turn on that strand. It's okay, I'll just turn it right back off. We're not ready for him yet. That strand's gonna come a little bit later. First, I want to get most of the main bulk on the head. And all the tips of the bangs and stuff, all that good stuff. All sorted out. Before I start worrying about all the hair that's going over her shoulder there. And why is that lumpy? You don't want lumpiness in your hair. It's no good at all. If you have big lumps in your hair, you should be very concerned. I feel like the only time that happens is if you spilled something. I definitely do not want to make it look like she spilled something in her hair. Okay. So I'm just doing a few tweaks up here again. Just because I saw some stuff. As always, as I work my way down, sometimes as things start getting more correct everywhere, I just start noticing the occasional little problem. And I want to go back and fix it. I want everything to look really nice. So it'd be kind of a shame if I didn't go back and fix it once I noticed a problem. At least I think so. I do feel like I'm steadily making my way down though, which is such a relief after the past couple of days where I've just been kind of flailing. I've been having a bit of trouble sleeping, just lots and lots of sleepwalking. And typically when I'm having dreams where I'm sleepwalking, I'm typically feeling like super anxious during them. So, even if I'm getting enough sleep, it doesn't feel very restful. It leaves me a bit tired. After all is said and done. But today I'm feeling pretty good. It's funny because I was still sleepwalking. But I guess I got lucky in that it wasn't as bad, for whatever reason. You know, much like art, sometimes stuff happens that seems like it should be worse than it is, or better than it is. And all you can really do is roll with it. It's fine, I'm not going to complain about feeling pretty good today. really hoping to be able to do some more drawing off stream too. Because I have really been having a great time with that. Might do some more style experiments in the future. We shall see. Looking forward to showing that one off. I'm hoping to have it done in the next week or so. It might take me a little bit longer just because like half of what I'm doing is research and trying things, so it's like a lot of the times I kind of end up having to draw something several times. Just because I try something and I'm just like, no, I don't think I like this one. Let's try this other way instead. And I like it better or worse, or, you know, sometimes it takes me a few tries to figure out exactly how I want it to be. And that's fine. That's the purpose of experimenting. After all, when it comes down to it, science is not a set of permanently defined beliefs. It is a method. It is a method to help you uncover the truth. And the first step of that is to have some kind of hypothesis to test. Sometimes you're right, and sometimes you're wrong. That's just how it goes. And so when it comes to what I'm doing and some of my off-stream art, I am indeed just testing many hypotheses and seeing what looks good. And oh man, do I think I found some stuff that looks good. That's part of what's been making it so fun to work on. That, and because I'm testing a bunch of ideas. And just the act of trying things, at least for me, is honestly really fun. Never be afraid to try things. Never know when you're gonna get something really cool. Alright, and I'm starting to approach the bottom here. And I think everything is looking quite good further up. I'm not really seeing a lot of the squirming that I was when I first started this today. So I'm actually kind of determined to see this through to the end. I want to finally be done with this silly little bang. Might even try the one on the other side too, depending on how I feel. Part of me wants to keep rigging, part of me wants to go get food. Right now I'm hiding the body because I think it's kind of getting in the way of me being able to see what's going on here. Like there's some highlights on the coat that are like similar in color. And so I think I was getting a little bit confused between a few areas. So I'm just gonna hide the body for a little bit. But we're gonna have a floating head with some funny bald spots. It's okay. It's totally okay. Alright, so let's see how long it takes me to figure out this little tip here. So far I feel like it's going well, but there's just... I don't know. I feel like when I try some things around here, it just ends up being a little bit lumpy. This might be where it's a good idea to go into mesh mode, where I see how the mesh is changing. So far it actually doesn't look like it's changing that much, so... that tells me that I'm probably not too far off. I just need to... I don't know, do it better. As is common when I work. Gotta start with the general sketch, and then you just do it better. Get the general idea, and then do it better. And then everything is finalized, and it's awesome. Oh, well, hi, hello there. Is that, pronounced, Skiyoshi? It's, good to have you here. How are you doing today? Excellent. Glad I pronounced it right. Yes, I'm doing quite well today. I'm finally getting through the bang from hell. I am not sure what about this strand is giving me such a hard time, but man, it is. I've worked my way most of the way down, and now I'm just trying to get this last little bit of the tip in place. And it is cooperating about as poorly as the rest of the strand was. But it's okay. I do think I'm getting closer. Just gotta keep doing the thing. Just trying to pay really close attention to the angles up here, where I think I might be trying to curve it a little bit too much again. I'm always just really, really tempted to make her hair super curly when in the actual art, the artist uses a lot of straights. Been kind of a habit throughout this entire thing, where I kind of have to go back and look, and I'm just like, oh, that's actually straighter than I thought it was. So what brings you here today? Are you interested in rigging, or are you interested in Path to Nowhere? My analytics say that the people that find my videos are about split evenly between the two. Ah, alright. I'll be doing a lot of that as well. Thank you. I've been poking at it for a while. The art is detailed, so it's been a bit challenging to work with, but I really do like the art from that game. Path to Nowhere being a game, and it's been a lot of fun to work with, even though it's kind of hard. Most of the art I've worked with does not have quite this level of detail. My art tends to be more on the simple side. No, there's just lots of little fiddly bits here and there that I'm still trying to work out. Nope. That is crunchy. Yeah, I'm not surprised that a lot of the more mainstream VTubers tend to use like more like a hard cell shaded anime look, because it is a lot easier to work with. Don't have to worry quite as much about like stretching out the shadow areas and making them look more pixelated and that kind of thing. Although one thing I did have to worry about when rigging my own artwork with a harder edge was keeping that edge looking smooth. It's like here I don't have to care quite as much. It's okay if it gets a little bit blurry. Nice. I do think Inochi2D is a great tool. It's nice that there's a free and open source alternative to Live2D, which is very expensive. I do not personally like subscription software, so I have avoided using it. Unfortunately, this means I also know very little about it, so I can't really tell you the differences between Inochi2D and Live2D. But, I have at least had success making things in Inochi2D. Some of which are even quite complicated. Like this, where I continue suffering through this bang that does not cooperate with me for reasons I do not understand. Yeah, I'm using the evaluation version, and so I can tell you that the difference between them is 0. The evaluation version is identical to the paid version. And the evaluation version lasts forever. All you have to deal with is a screen that pops up for 10 seconds every time you load it up saying, "Hello, please considering sending me money because software development is hard and expensive." It's like maybe someday I'll be able to throw some money her way, but unfortunately money is a little bit too tight for me right now. For anyone watching, I do highly encourage you to throw money at developers that make, or, developers and other creators that make tools or art or whatever else that makes your life better. Because right now it kind of feels like people kind of have to trick you into giving them money instead of people just willingly giving money to the people that add value to their lives. And that's why we get so many predatory practices in the business world. It's very unfortunate. Alright. Do I finally have it? No, not quite. Very close, though. I think once I get the shadow right, that will be good enough. No. A little bit wrinkly there, so let's smooth that out before I go test it. I swear, I'm making all this look way harder than it actually is. Still not quite sure why this bang proved to be so difficult, but it was. It happens sometimes. It's okay. I do. I have not started uploading there yet. But I plan to as I start making new things again. So far I've just been working on this, and VTuber bottles are a big commitment. So I've just figured that I'd probably be working on this for a few months, and any of my uploads would just be stuff that I work on off stream. And right now my off-stream project is much science. So it's slow going. Yeah, go for it. Yes. Stylistic experiments. I'm looking forward to uploading the result once I finish it. Okay. How are we doing? And right here is still just a little bit off. It might be good enough, honestly. But I kind of want to try to make it a little bit better there. Alright, and there's just like one last lump here. If this wasn't a lump, I think I'd be content to ignore it. But, I don't like lumpiness in my hair, so I don't want to ignore it. Just try to make it a little bit less lumpy here. He's still a bit lumpy. A little bit lumpy. Still just a little bit lumpy. There we go, how are we doing? Okay. I don't know, still a little bit lumpy. Still a little bit lumpy right here, too. Okay, what's causing the lump here? Because yeah, I think once I work out these last few lumps, that's probably going to be good. It's definitely not because I'm sick of working on it. I do think it actually looks good. I might just also be slightly sick of working on this one part. These things are not mutually exclusive. Okay, yeah, there we go. Not lumpy. Are we good? I think we're good. We'll see how the me of tomorrow thinks, but the me of today is satisfied. So I'm gonna turn this strand back on. Okay, looks like I'm gonna have to stretch this area down just a little bit here. There we go. Okay, because I do want that side here to kind of match up with the tip of the bang here. And I guess I'm gonna go ahead and poke at this a little bit before I stop for today. Just want to get the angle on that bit of hair right, because it was a little bit off there. Still just a little bit off, I think. This is another case where it's more about angles. Most of the time it is, honestly. Come on, little guy. There you go. There we go. Okay. Yeah, it's looking good. I'm glad that I finally got that bang done, though. Because, oh man, was it giving me a time. I'm kind of relieved. I hope the me of tomorrow likes it, because it would be nice to be able to move on to other parts of the hair. Hold on there. That's not right. That's not how it's supposed to look, right? Yeah, definitely not. Okay. So that might have been causing some problems on this little area too. Try to clean up this edge just a little bit. It's a little bit lumpy, but now I think it's okay. Oh. Autosave coming to help me out here. Right now the model's gotten complex enough that autosave kind of makes the entire thing freeze for a couple of seconds. Most of the time it's not too disruptive though. I appreciate the autosave coming in to help me out when it can. Yeah, I think, is it in here somewhere? Or is there settings here? I don't remember where it is. Okay. Edit here. Yeah, autosaves here. So you can see I have it every 15 minutes. It saved my life a few times. I tend to only work in 1 to 2 hour intervals on this model though, just because I don't stream for more than 2 hours, just to avoid stressing myself out since I do stream every day. But still, when I was working on my personal model here, it's like, oh, that definitely saved me more than a few times. Or I'd just be sitting there for like 6 hours and I would, sometimes forget to save for several hours at a stretch, and then something bad would happen and it'd be like, oh no. Oh no. And it saved me a lot of work, so. I do appreciate the autosave, even if it kind of, makes a slight pause in everything. Okay. There we go. Alright, I want to take a look at this bang here before I stop for today. Just see how it's doing. Yeah, I still have to fix up the tips a little bit more, I think, but it's mostly looking pretty good. I got a little bit of a lump over here by the ear. I think I'll grab that real quick, and that's probably where I will stop for today. It's this one. Just a little bit of a lump right by the ear here. What are you? What is causing you? Is it just this? Oh, that'd be so wonderful if it was just that. It is not. Okay. Yeah, this is definitely supposed to be straight. What is this? Let me take a look at the mesh here. Okay. So sometimes seeing how it looks between and how the vertices are moving between the two keyframes can tell me where things are off if I'm not sure why something is looking perhaps a little bit lumpier than it should. But it still has that. Why is that there? Doesn't seem like it should be. Okay. I think I have to make a few tiny adjustments, bringing some of this over to the right. And then maybe I can find the right angle to get rid of this lump of the ear. Let's hide the ear for a second. Just to see if that makes it a little bit easier to see. This way, hopefully I'm not confusing something that's like inside the ear or a lump in the hair. Looks like I might have been, actually. Oh, man. If that's all I was doing, that would be nice. Because that means I don't have to worry about it. That means it's not actually a problem. It's always nice when your problems aren't problems, isn't it? Alright, there we go. I think that took care of the lumps, and we're gonna leave this funny bald spot in because tomorrow, hopefully I will finish the other bang. I'm gonna stay in floating head mode. And I think this is where I will stop for today. So, thank you all for coming. If you'd like me to take a look at your own creative projects, whether that be art, writing, coding, game design, or any other creative pursuit you can think of, feel free to message or at me on Twitter or Instagram or your social media of choice, and I'll take a look and maybe leave some comments. I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye. And you're welcome. It was good to have you here. Thanks for showing up.